Hello everybody, welcome back to DayZ. I am Billy Mac, and if you saw my video called Eliminate DayZ Hosting Fees Forever, and you actually did it and started hosting your own DayZ server, if you're like me, you will have loved it so much that you're going to want to do a second server. So I thought I would do a quick video on what I've learned and the changes to do to self-host 2 DayZ servers. I don't want to repeat a lot of information, so I'm going to point you to my website. I'll put a link in the description of this video that points to the first video called Eliminate DayZ Hosting Fees Forever. I'm going to assume that you've got one server up and running for purposes of this video. So that is the first step. Then I want to explain that your server, if you've got one server, it uses ports 2302 to 2305 and port 27016. If you are going to do a second set of servers or a second server, it will use ports 2306 to 2309. Now you can actually select the ports that you want, but make sure the ports you select aren't being used by anything else on your system. So step one, once you've got your server up and running, is you want to go to your DayZ server folder and you want to find a file called DayZ server _x64, and it will say that it's an application. And then what you'll do is just hit copy and then paste that right into the folder, back into the same folder, and then highlight it and rename it. Just add the number 2. And if it's your third server, add the number 3. So that is step 1. So step 2, I'm not going to walk you through step by step. I'm going to refer you to my original video, but you need to set up your ports in Windows Defender for ports 2306 to 2309. That other video takes you through it step by step. Third step is you need to set up port forwarding for, you guessed it, ports 2306 to 2309 on your router. And then you also need to set up port 27017. Next up, and again, I'm going to refer you to my first video, you'll have to set up your server.cfg file, and it's the same setup steps as the previous video. Finally, step 5, the last step, you'll need to set up your start.bat file. Now, I'm going to take you to my DayZ server folder, and what I immediately wanted to do was to host other maps. So I decided to host Hashima. And let me show you. Just open the file, edit in Notepad++. You should be familiar with this because you did it for your first server. And of course, you'll have to go through and set your server name. The server location will remain the same. First big change is right here. Port 2302 needs to become port 2306. You're going to want to save your set server config to whatever you named your server.cfg file. In this case, mine is serverDZ.cfg. Then working your way down, the next change is going to be, it says start DayZ server, DayZ server underscore x64. You're going to want to put the x64.2 in there. Another change you're going to want to make on this line is the profiles. Some people call it profiles. My servers are called config, but I always change this to a config, and then I name it the map of the server that I'm on. So in this case, it'll be config Hashima. And what this does is it sets up your mods. So you only need to have one copy of the mod on your DayZ server. But when you run the DayZ server, it'll create a separate config folder for each one of your servers to separate those files, so you're not commingling the files. And then the last change that you're going to have to make is down here under task kill. It says DayZ server x64. You're going to want to name it x64.2 or whatever number server that you're on, whatever you've decided to call it. What happened to me was I had both servers using the same DayZ server program, and then when it got down to this part of the batch file where it was basically rebooting the server, it would reboot both servers. So this kind of separates it out, makes it nice and neat to work two servers. So we'll save this change, and you are set to go to run that second server. You just run that second start.bat file, and you are good to go. Please give me a like and subscribe if you like this content. Please comment to let me know if it worked or not. And as always, make it a great day.